South Africa has finally received the moment it was waiting for. After several days of tense silence filled with speculation and escalating political drama, President Cyril Ramaphosa has at last broken his silence. His response followed Mkhwanazi's explosive demand for his arrest, a call that shook the very foundation of parliament. Now the burning question is whether his words brought the reassurance the nation longed for or if they were simply another act in an ongoing political performance. Either way, the entire country had been holding its breath, waiting for clarity, and his remarks only added more fuel to the storm surrounding him. The chaos in Parliament reached boiling point. What began as a heated confrontation led by Mkhwanazi quickly transformed into one of the most intense political moments South Africa has seen in years. Calls for Ramaphosa's arrest rang out across the chamber, impeachment was openly discussed, and the public demanded immediate answers. For nearly 4 days, the president's silence was deafening, provoking endless speculation and criticism from all sides of society. When Ramaphosa finally spoke, his words did not calm the tension but instead deepened divisions. South Africans became more polarized than ever about his integrity, leadership, and political future. The spark of this crisis came during a fierce parliamentary debate when Mkhwanazi suddenly dropped a political bombshell. He demanded the immediate arrest of President Ramaphosa on allegations of corruption and misconduct. His declaration hit the chamber like dynamite. Chaos broke out as members shouted over one another, and within minutes news networks cut to live coverage while social media flooded with clips of the sensational demand. Opposition parties hailed Mkhwanazi as a truth-teller exposing corruption at the highest level, while members of the ANC condemned him for reckless grandstanding that could destabilize democracy. Yet the phrase, "arrest him now," spread far beyond the walls of Parliament, sparking nationwide protests, trending hashtags, and endless debate. The president's continued silence only worsened the crisis. Critics accused him of cowardice, claiming he was hiding while the nation suffered under scandal. Supporters, however, argued he was taking time to consider his response carefully instead of reacting rashly. Still, with every passing hour, pressure mounted and public frustration grew. People demanded to know why the president was not confronting the issue head-on. At last night, President Ramaphosa addressed the nation in a televised broadcast from the Union buildings. Standing firm, he declared, "I have not committed any crime, and I will not allow spurious charges to undermine our democracy." He framed the accusations as a deliberate attempt to divide the country and warned that Parliament should never be reduced to a forum of chaos. He insisted he would cooperate fully with any legal investigation if required but firmly rejected calls for his resignation or any step that might appear as weakness. His message was one of resilience and determination, though whether it persuaded the public remains uncertain. Reactions to his speech were immediate and sharply divided. His allies praised him as firm, statesmanlike, and unyielding in the face of political attacks. They interpreted his remarks as a rallying cry to defend democratic institutions against opportunistic critics. However, his opponents were far from impressed. They dismissed the speech as lacking substance, full of defiance rather than transparency, and failing to address the real questions. Social media erupted within minutes with hashtags such as "empty words," "buying time," and "South Africans deserve better than speeches," capturing the widespread frustration. Mkhwanazi, unsurprisingly, wasted no time in responding. Within hours, he released a scathing statement: "South Africa does not require a president who ducks behind vacuous rhetoric. We require accountability, not spin-doctor speeches." He repeated his demand for Ramaphosa's arrest and vowed to keep pressing Parliament until the president faced consequences. His sharp rebuttal reignited the flames, ensuring the scandal remained front and center in national debate. Inside the ANC, pressure is steadily building. Publicly, Ramaphosa supporters maintain that he must be defended at all costs, arguing that yielding to opposition demands would be disastrous for both the party and the nation. But behind closed doors, whispers are growing louder. Some insiders now question whether the scandal is eroding the ANC's credibility at a critical moment with elections approaching. If the ruling party cannot contain the crisis, it risks losing ground to opposition forces already capitalizing on the chaos to gain popular support. The stakes could not be higher. This is no longer merely a standoff between Ramaphosa and Mkhwanazi, it is about public trust in government, accountability among leaders, and the very survival of South Africa's democracy. While Ramaphosa's words may have reassured some loyal supporters, they did little to silence his critics. Instead, the divide between citizens is widening, with both sides hardening their positions. So where does that leave South Africa? Analysts predict escalating battles in parliament, extended legal cases, and even the risk of unrest in the streets as public opinion continues to split. Every action the president takes from now will be closely scrutinized, dissected by the media, and fiercely debated by the people. His presidency has entered uncharted waters, and only time will reveal the outcome. Legal experts are also weighing in on Mkhwanazi's demand. Some argue that without solid evidence and due judicial process, calling for the president's arrest is reckless and dangerous, potentially setting a harmful precedent. Others counter that the gravity of the accusations requires urgent action to safeguard the credibility of South Africa's institutions. Civil society, meanwhile, is becoming more active. Some groups are organizing protests to demand transparency, while others rally in defense of the president, warning that removing him without proper legal process could destabilize the country. What remains certain is that this scandal is not fading away anytime soon. Calls for accountability are only growing louder, and the opposition shows no sign of retreat. For President Ramaphosa, this is the beginning of a political trial by fire. Whether he emerges stronger or sees his presidency consumed by the flames will depend entirely on how the next events unfold. In the coming days, opposition leaders are expected to keep pushing for investigations, court actions, and continuous media focus. Ramaphosa will lean on his loyalists to project stability, yet fractures within the ANC may prove difficult to conceal. For ordinary South Africans, each new twist in this political saga only deepens uncertainty about their leaders, their future, and the strength of their democracy.